Welcome to the Real Estate Scripts Podcast, the show that helps you know what to say when you're talking to buyers and sellers so that you can close more deals and earn more money. I'm Darren Tunstall, a real estate professional, coach, and #1 best-selling author. Let's get into this. Before we begin today's episode, I want to clarify some important points. I am a licensed real estate agent and my DRE number is 018534445. It's crucial to note that this podcast operates independently of my affiliation with Keller Williams Realty and any realtor associations. My primary goal with this podcast is to provide you, our listeners, with valuable information, insights, and practical tools. As a reminder, the purpose of Scripts and Dialogues is to come, learn, practice, and be prepared to fail forward. This is where we make mistakes and help each other out, but we're mostly interested in seeing how we can get better. First, we read through the script word for word, and then we go back and put it into our own natural tone, style, and phrasing. You won't know what to say until you go through the script. So, with that said, many people will say, that's not how I sound, and I totally get it. That's not how you sound. But that is the reason why we practice every day, so that the script becomes you and in your own voice. So, read it word for word first, then go back and put it into your own natural tone, style, and phrasing, and I think it'll work out. So this week is lead generation. Today is cold calling, door knocking, and we're doing a script that somebody put in a special request for, and that's calling out-of-state landlords. You know who you are. I thought I'd put it on here to practice it, see how it goes. So I'll go ahead and set this scenario up. In this scenario, you are reaching out to out-of-state landlords who own rental properties in your local area. You engage them in a conversation about potentially selling their properties and to address any concerns or objections they may have. Requirements are knowledge of the local real estate market. Hang on just a second. Local real estate market, understanding of landlord challenges and concerns, strong communication and negotiation skills, and the ability to offer solutions tailored to out-of-state landlords. The intention is to identify out-of-state landlords who may be interested in selling their rental properties in your local area and to offer them a hassle-free selling experience. Here's the thing. It was a special request to put out this particular script. It's also a script that I get called on 2-3 times a week on because I have out-of-state property investments that are current rentals. And I do constantly get calls from realtors in those areas asking me if I am interested in selling. So I've kind of taken some of the questions that I've been asked and some of the concerns that I have from my perspective, like taxes, cash flow, finding a different property, things like that. You're also pushing back a little bit as the owner. I'm pushing back a little bit because, like, who are you calling me? You know, why are you? I mean, how dare you call me and ask me about my rental properties? Is basically the approach that I've been taking sometimes. I don't like the tone. I don't like the conversation. I don't like the rapport, the lack of rapport building. You know, it's just, do you want to sell? Stuff like that. So I think we can kind of take a little bit of a different approach, but you got to open the door quickly too. So let's go ahead and practice this particular script and go from there. Sound good? We'll have Carolyn be the agent first, and then Yuri, you'll be the person that's out of state who owns rental property in Carolyn's area.
Okay.
Also, I wanted to say too that some of the landlords that I call, they literally live right down the street. And I know that that's the case with my parents too. They own a place right down the street from our new house.
That is the case too. So sometimes there's that also, right? So you can adjust the script. I mean, it's the same exact script, no matter where they're at. You know, the question is like, you have this property. Have you thought about selling it? So whatever approach you want to take is fine with me.
Okay.
We should be very fluid on this.
Perfect. If I glitch also, sorry, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I don't know if My Wi-Fi is very strong today. Um, okay. Hi, may I speak with Yuri?
Hello. May I ask who's speaking, please?
Hi, Yuri. This is Carolyn Naples with Keller Williams Realty. I specialize in helping landlords like yourself who own rental properties in San Diego, but live out of state. Have you considered selling your rental property in our area?
Um, why, what makes you think that I'm interested in selling my property?
Um, oh, that's a good
The
one.
property is a good source of income for you or for them.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just calling around the area, and looking for listings because inventory is low. So I am just calling everybody who has a rental property. And I know that rental properties can be a good source of income. However, managing from a distance can come with its challenges. We do offer hassle-free selling experience and connect you with local buyers who might be interested in your property. Would you like to hear more about how we can assist you?
I'm sure, but I'm concerned about the selling process, and I think that's super complicated.
Sure. So selling doesn't have to be complicated with the right assistance. We handle everything from paperwork to coordinating with buyers. Let's schedule a no obligation consultation to discuss your options and answer any questions you may have. How does Friday at 12 p.m. sound for you?
I'm sure that sounds good. But you know what? I'm afraid that I'm not gonna be able to find another investment opportunity, like if I sell this home.
That's a valid concern. We can help you explore potential investment opportunities in that area that might cash flow better than what you have now. How open are you to receiving more cash flow?
More cash flow. But if I receive more cash flow, I'm worried about my capital gain taxes after I sell.
Tax implications are an important consideration. If we can connect you, we can connect you with tax professionals who specialize in real estate to discuss strategies for minimizing capital gains taxes. We can also talk about 1031 exchanges too. How does Friday at 12 p.m. sound for you?
Well, that sounds great. We can meet up on Friday, 12 p.m.
Okay. I look forward to talking to you then.
Thank you.
So it's a very positive outcome. Good job.
Mhm.
So that is a question that I do get asked pretty often, like, do you want to sell? I typically say, no, why would I want to sell? I really do. And because it is a good source of income. Although I know the selling process, I believe that there are homeowners out there who don't know what the buying or selling process is. And that's simply because they may have received the home in a trust, part of an inheritance as a gift, or in some other adverse way of receiving property. So there are scenarios where people have never had to buy a home or sell a home, and they are
Mhm.
unaware of the process because it was just essentially handed over to them. So we have to be aware of that too. Also, if they were in a situation where, say, for example, they got married and and I know a couple like this who the wife had already owned a home and later on down the road, they got a divorce through a divorce settlement. That property could eventually make its way to the other spouse. So there's multiple scenarios in which this can happen.
Mhm.
So Yuri, let's go ahead and reverse this, and we'll have you talk to Carolyn, and then we're
Ye-
going to go back. What's that?
Yes, ready.
Okay.
Mhm.
So when
Okay.
you're ready,
Hello, may I speak with Carolyn, please?
Hi, this is Carolyn. Can I ask who's speaking?
Hi, Carolyn. This is Judy with Keller Williams Realty. I specialize in helping landlords like yourself who own rental properties in San Chula Vista. but live out of state. Have you considered selling your rental property in our area?
Why would I want to sell? Because the property is a good source of income for me.
I understand, but rental properties can indeed be a good source of income. However, managing from a distance can come with its challenges. We can offer you a hassle-free selling experience and connect you with local buyers who might be interested in your property. Would you like to hear more about how we can assist you?
I'm concerned about the selling process. I think it's really complicated.
Sure, but selling doesn't have to be complicated with the right assistance. We can handle everything from paperwork to coordination with buyers. Why don't we schedule a non-obligation consultation to discuss your options and answer any questions that you might have? How does Friday 4 p.m. sounds for you?
That's okay. I'm just concerned that I won't be able to find another investment opportunity.
Sure, that's a valid concern, but we can help you explore potential investment opportunities in the area that might cash flow better than what you have now. How open are you to receive more cash flow?
I'm open to it, but I'm just worried about capital gains taxes if I sell.
Sure. Tax implications are an important consideration. We can connect you with tax professionals who specialize in the real estate to discuss strategies for minimizing capital gain taxes. We can also talk about the 1031 exchange too. How does meeting Friday at 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. sounds for you?
That's okay.
Great. Thank you, Carolyn. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye.
I didn't know whether to take that's okay as in that's okay, I'm good, or that's okay, let's do it. I could have taken that in either way because that's also the response as well.
Mhm.
That's all right. I'm good, and that's a response that I give every single time. No, thank you. But bottom line is I'm not getting rid of my property. It's too fairly new for me to unload it just yet. Anyways, other people who've been hanging on to property for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, it might be time for them to cash out too. So that's the other thing that you were looking for. I am curious, and this is something that I'd prefer to talk to as a group though, is some of the main issues that people out of state landlords or property owners have with the property. I'll save that question for the group because there are some issues that I would like to share that I've had
Mhm.
that give real motivation as to why someone might even think about potentially selling. And it's given me some reason to think, even though I've only had them for a few years, I might want to get out of some of this mess that I'm experiencing right now. Right? So we're at the moment of time.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Could you explain a little bit more about capital gains taxes? Because I read an article recently, and like my family's been talking about it, and it's like just like a really confusing concept for me. So I feel like having someone explain it to me would be beneficial.
Well, you know what the go-to answer is, right? The go-to answer is go talk to your CPA or financial, you know, expert advisor. That's the real because it becomes a tax planning, it becomes a very accounting thing. But essentially, capital gains is the money that you make from selling. So for whatever your selling cost is minus your expenses, there's a profit there, right? So in a business scenario like a selling a rental property or selling a business, you're going to have that profit. And from a tax planning perspective, usually sort of taxes on that. So usually there's some sort of taxes that you have to pay on your profit. But I want to be careful on that because I am not a financial planner. I am not an accountant. I am not a attorney. Okay. I'm not a tax planner in any way. In those situations can be reduced or curbed in some way with the proper tax advice. So the best way I can say is profit minus expenses equals, or not equals some sort of a profit. On that profit portion of it, you're going to pay, or typically you pay a capital gains tax. And that is very individualized to individuals, companies, corporations. It also depends on the type of structure that you have set up, whether you're a small business, LLC, corporation, S corporation. So that's why it really has to be redirected to a financial expert that can answer that question for that individual. But essentially, it's the taxes that you pay on the profit.
Okay.
And it might get reduced. You might have to pay the whole thing. Carolyn, does that help at least a little bit?
Yes, sorry. I think you cut out a little bit, but yes, that helps.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good, good.
I didn't realize you
Yeah,
were
I
to
wish
say
I could tell
something,
you
sorry.
there's. Oh, no worries, no worries. I think there's a little delay where I'm
Yeah.
at right now. Okay, so let's go ahead. It's we're gonna bring everybody back anyways because I answered that, and I want to make sure that we have a discussion about some of these other things. Um, Yeah, I just pulled up a definition too. Capital gains tax is applied to the difference between the purchase price, the basis, and the selling price of the asset. So if you sell the asset for more than what you paid, the profit is considered a capital gain tax and is taxable, or the profit is considered as a capital gain and it is taxable. But what does taxable mean? Taxable could mean a multitude of things. So when a property owner goes to sell their home, let's just say, for example, $900,000 as a homeowner, like say for example, if they lived in the home and then they sold their house and it was their primary residence, that gets treated differently versus if they were an investor. As an investor, if they bought the home and then they sold it, then the profit there gets treated completely different from an investor's perspective too. So that's why it's so critical to go back and talk to a tax professional or a financial professional to understand what the differences are for everybody's scenario.
Okay. Thank you.
Um, really, yeah, you're welcome. I do want to bring up a point or ask a question to begin with. What complications that you're aware of might a property owner have, like an out-of-state property owner? What kind of issues might they have?
Not keeping it rented on a consistent basis. Are you talking
Mhm.
about the selling process or renting it out?
I'm talking about the motivation as to why, yeah, let me just say that. The motivation as to why a landlord might consider or a homeowner might consider selling their investment property.
This poor
Because I
man,
have my personal experiences, but I'm curious.
yeah, poor
What's
Property
that?
management and not keeping it rented.
or not being able to
That is,
get people out of your property when they're not
That's a
paying the
good one
rent.
too. Yeah.
you mean like squatters?
Yeah.
And I would say a property management company, I mean, if they're not I mean, if you do have a property management or if you're handling it by yourself, then that would be kind of taxing having to travel back and forth. But I would just assume they would have a property management company handling their property for them.
The cost of repairs is one. Being able to get, depending on the age of the property, to get people to do the work, manage the work, and everything's going to be retail because you don't have a relationship with these folks.
Yeah. These are all fantastic, and everything you mentioned is definitely on the list that I have. I'll tell you from personal experience, my number one issue has been property management issues. And I thought I did such a great job at finding the right property manager. Uh, they did an excellent job. They have their own maintenance team. They do all the background checks. They do all the reporting, everything like that. It's all been fantastic until they started to solely rely on their own employees for the property management. So I have out-of-state investment properties. The second big issue that I have is tenant relations, although it's not necessarily a relationship with me, it's a relationship with the tenant and the property management company. They might not see eye to eye, or they may butt heads here and there too. And I think that you have to have a property manager who is willing to be understanding, but willing to go, head to head with people um, who are not willing to pay. There are some other things like emergency situations and costs of repairs. There's also trust issues, like whether somebody is actually doing something. Like literally some of the thoughts have gone through my head. Is the property manager really doing his job? On my last issue that I had with a property that I have, the property management um, got it all prepared to sell, and then a realtor friend of mine who I bought the property from uh, went through the property to take a look at it, and I discovered that a lot of stuff, and he took video of it and sent it to me, wasn't being done. I then confronted the property management about that. He said it was going to get fixed ASAP. I said, great, let's do it. Take brand new pictures. He said he did it, and then it didn't work out. Anyways, didn't do the work, and long story short, it sat on the market for about 4 months with no rental income, and that hurts. So my point in bringing that up is it is motivation. These are motivations as to why. Like this is very because I've even with the property management, I've asked myself, okay, I'm having all these issues. Not anymore, by the way, but I'm having these issues. Is it really worth hanging on to this property? And I'm telling you, when you make these type of calls and you catch one of these landlords at the right time, you're gonna have a fantastic conversation with people like me who are very frustrated. In my case, I'm not willing to call because I have a realtor relationship up there. Um, some of these other people who are calling me, I just know that if I were going to sell, because I called my realtor over there and said, you know what, I'm really seriously thinking about selling. But I'm glad I didn't because we fixed it and we're back in the running here. All right, so that's the script. I hope that you found it useful. Just head over to realestatescriptspractice.com for more resources and downloads. This content is for educational purposes only and does not make any guarantees. We suggest you seek the help and/or advice of your broker, coach, mentor, office manager, attorney, and/or financial advisor. Brought to you by Darren Tunstall, a licensed real estate agent, DRE number 018534445. This content operates independently of Darren's affiliation with Keller Williams Realty and any realtor associations. The intention is to provide you with valuable information, insights, and practical tools. Please note that all results may vary and participants are responsible for their own actions.